Hello, everyone. In Vietnam, the anti-corruption campaign launched by General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong in 2013 has made a huge impact. During this campaign, thousands of leading officials were arrested and prosecuted, and millions of dollars were recovered. General Secretary Trong compared corrupt officials to logs being thrown into the furnace to make the campaign burn even stronger. Although Trong has passed away, his successor, General Secretary To Lum, continues to throw rotten logs, corrupt officials, into the furnace. Recently, on August 27th, the Investigative Security Agency of Vietnam's Ministry of Public Security completed its investigation and recommended prosecuting 15 defendants related to Xuân Việt Oil Company for various crimes. The total loss to the state amounts to nearly $60 million, including $51 million in environmental protection taxes and $9 million from the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund. This amount is currently unrecoverable as the company's account holds just over $166,000. The amount of bribes associated with the case amounts to more than $1.3 million. Many of the defendants, holding high positions in the Ministry of Industry and Trade, the Ministry of Finance, and Binh Tre Province, have confessed to their crimes. So, how did Xuân Việt Oil Company embezzle this money? How were the bribes carried out? Let's explore this in today's video. Xuân Việt Oil, formerly Xuân Việt Co., Ltd., was first granted a business license in May 2005. In 2015, Ms. Mai Thi Hong Hang acquired shares and renamed the company Xuân Việt Oil Trading, Transportation, and Tourism Co., Ltd., with its main business being fuel and related products trading. At that time, the registered capital was $2 million, which increased 60 times in just 6 years to $120 million. This raises the question, was the company extraordinarily successful, or did Ms. Hunt use dubious methods to inflate the capital? Ms. Hunt owns 98% of the company, while her sister, Mai Thị Ngọc Trinh, holds 2%. In reality, Ms. Hunt is the sole owner with full control over the company's finances and operations. In August 2016, Xuân Việt Oil was granted a 5-year import-export license by the Ministry of Industry and Trade, which was renewed in November 2021 until 2026. Ms. Mai Thi Hong Hang faces prosecution on 2 main charges: violations of regulations on state asset management, causing loss and waste, and bribery. In the state asset mismanagement case, Ms. Hang embezzled up to $60 million, including $51 million from environmental protection taxes and $9 million from the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund. She used this money for personal purposes, such as purchasing real estate under her own name and paying bribes to state officials. The Fuel Price Stabilization Fund is a government fund aimed at reducing fluctuations in fuel prices on the market when global fuel prices change drastically. This helps stabilize the cost of goods because almost all goods are transported using fuel. For example, when fuel prices drop, but the cost of goods remains the same, the profit flows into the pockets of fuel and transport companies. When fuel prices rise, goods prices follow suit. And who suffers from this price hike? It is, of course, the consumers like us. It's unacceptable that while businesses benefit, people suffer. The government wants a stable society, so the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund was established. Simply put, imagine that oil in Vietnam is sold for $3.3 per gallon, while the global price is $3 per gallon. The $0.3 difference is put into the Stabilization Fund. The following week, if global oil prices rise to $3.6 per gallon, $0.3 from the fund will be used to cover the price difference, allowing people to continue buying oil at $3.3, regardless of global price fluctuations. That is the benefit of the Stabilization Fund. However, there is a loophole that Ms. Hang exploited to embezzle $9 million from this fund. Under current regulations for fuel trading, the fund is not centrally managed, but is left with the fuel trading companies themselves, allowing them to manage, allocate, and report the fund's balance to the state. Simply put, the fund's money stays within the companies, and they only need to report the amount to the state each month. Since the companies prepare the reports themselves, they can falsify them. This is how Mai Thi Hong Hang embezzled $9 million from the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund. The second issue involves the $51 million in environmental protection taxes that Ms. Hant embezzled. This was her major payday. This tax is collected from consumers and paid to the state when fuel is consumed. It's meant to fund projects to repair environmental damage or encourage the use of cleaner fuels. The current tax rate is 10%. By law, this tax must be paid by the 20th of the following month after filing monthly tax returns or within 10 days after filing separate tax returns. However, Xuanvit Oil failed to pay this tax from October 2021 to July 2022, aided by Mr. Lê Duy Minh, former director of Ho Chi Minh City Tax Department, who delayed enforcement of tax arrears and did not disclose the company's tax debts. In return, Minh received $100,000 from Ms. Hant. Furthermore, Ms. Hant bribed many other officials to cover up these violations. Specifically, she bribed 8 individuals with a total of over $1.3 million. The largest bribe went to Mr. Lê Đức Thọ, former party secretary of Bến Tre province, who received $600,000, a Mercedes S450 worth $275,000, and a Patek Philippe watch worth nearly $50,000. Using his position as party secretary of Bến Tre, Mr. Thọ pressured the director of Vietinbank's Bến Tre branch to help Ms. Hant secure loans more easily, with a limit of $6 million. Several other senior officials also accepted bribes, such as former Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade Do Thang Hai, who received $50,000 in his office to facilitate Xuanvit Oil's licensing for fuel export and import. Former Director Trần Duy Đông and former Deputy Director Hoang Anh Tuấn of the Domestic Market Department under the Ministry of Industry and Trade accepted $250,000 in bribes. Some even received bribes at the National Assembly Guest House in District 3, Ho Chi Minh City, like former Deputy Director of the Price Management Department under the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Dang Kong Khoi, who accepted $10,000 to overlook Xuanvit Oil's violations related to the use of the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund. As you can see, money can blind people, making it difficult to resist temptation. However, with the firmness of the late General Secretary Trong, and now under the leadership of General Secretary To Lâm, these people will be turned into logs in the fight against corruption. Even if they are green logs, they will still burn. Especially when they're soaked in fuel, they will burn fiercely. Thank you for watching the video. If you found it useful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Now, goodbye, and see you next time.